How do you say it?
Yes.
Okay. And welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen, to Nettirahapodi. I am Tuomas Pigg, your host, and this is
Anttonen Jani.
And we have the honor today to have Belsy Yuen here as our guest. Welcome aboard.
Hello.
Good to see you, Belsy.
Excited.
Yeah, let's see how this goes. This time it's quite a decentralized podcast because I am in Lapland in Ivalo Kirjasto and Jani is in Turku and I think Belsy is in London. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, so try stop this podcast now. Yeah. All right. Yeah, it's really great to see you, Belsy. It's been a few years. We were colleagues at EGU at the time, and you've been doing quite a lot since then as well. So could you tell our listeners a little bit about who you are and what it is that you do right now?
Sure. My name is Belsy. I'm the co-founder and CTO of Platform D. Platform D turns electronic invoices into investment-grade digital securities. We could do that because Platform D is an entrant to the UK Bank of England and FCA joint digital security sandbox. So the opportunity comes from two regulatory tailwinds, one being the mandatory electronic invoicing that is coming across EU and the UK, and actually across multiple different countries. And then obviously why we're here is then we want to put all of this on chain. And the UK has a new financial market infrastructure, which is the Digital Security Depository. That's a alternative or like substitute on chain to the CSD. So Euroclear DTC, for example. So now we think let's just collapse like the entire layer of invoice financing and directly put people who have an invoice who wants cash in front of a investor who has money and they want to invest in short-term products.
Cool. So it's like a peer-to-peer, like factoring. Is it factoring in English, the term for that? When someone gives you 99% of the bill that you're going to receive in a month, and that's
exactly.
Yeah, that's so great. So there is like a harmonization within the like e-bills all around Europe coming that will help you in this.
Exactly. So we're starting in Italy where they already have mandatory electronic invoice since 2019, actually one of the first. It is very simple. Like for example, our parent company, like when we go to a restaurant in Italy and the parent company is like paying for the bill, then there is already a direct kind of like electronic invoice between like the company and the restaurants that gets deposited. So through Platform D, actually, we integrate with invoice intermediaries. So they are the people who actually interact with a centralized system where all the electronic invoices go.
Oh, yeah, this sounds very interesting, and I've used you as an example of like real world use cases for blockchain, and as RWAs are very trendy right now, and I think you are doing a really great work with them.
Thank you. Yeah, I think the difference is, there are lots of different like real world asset kind of use cases that already puts like financial agreements on chain. So financial contracts, so security bonds, etc., or something that is already securitized. But like what we're doing is really end to end, where the initial contract is a commercial contract, an invoice, and then we kind of add in a lot of like verifiable credentials, like digital identity, digital signatures, to make it into something that we could originate a security from. So that's really the I guess like the innovation and the collapse of that stack, because every single layer in the process of factoring right now cost time, but it also like cost money, and ultimately the suppliers, the one who are selling the invoice, are the ones that get squeezed. because as an investor, you're like, well, like I want to make sure that I'm getting compensated for the risk that I'm taking because I have like all these different layers. Whereas like the idea of putting a very clear, legally binding, like with provenance, invoice as the actual underlying asset, basically benefits the supplier and our ultimate client are the suppliers, because that's the people producing the products and the services, and we don't want to have like intermediary basically be part of that.
So you're currently like doing this in the jurisdiction of UK.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other markets here
Yeah, so
aiming for?
so the securitization or the issuance of the digital security, we could really, at the moment, like only do it in the UK, because well, after Brexit, like they have a new financial market bill sector, and that's why they're looking for a new financial market infrastructure, and but the invoice that gets originated, typically they'll be cross-border, right? So like you obviously have like local invoices, which is where we're starting from, but that's not really the end game, where we only deal with like invoices that is within a region. So I think in terms of like where the market size is, or it'll be obviously across Europe, but also anywhere that originates invoices selling into a buyer who we have onboarded.
Cool. So
Do you guys have do you know when your like electronic invoicing are coming in to play in Finland?
well, honestly I haven't heard about that before, but I mean electronic
Right.
invoicing has been a thing in Finland for like, I think we were among the first to use it so widely, but we've had them since forever.
Yeah.
Right. Cool.
Yeah.
But I'd imagine that like, for example, the UK has, does it have something technically different to other jurisdictions, how they handle the electronic invoicing, or how's the integration like between all
Yeah, so
the markets?
the mandatory, I think, is coming in 2028.
Okay.
And across EU, I think like the absolute deadline is like 2030 or something. But I think France is rolling it out, Germany is rolling it out, like, and they have different protocols as well. But I think basically most of the like software that already provides electronic invoice service would just be able to operate across all the countries.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's cool.
So what's the next then for Platform D, like on top of the invoice
Well,
synchronization?
yeah, so we currently are on testnet. We're working on a POC with like real obligors, like real investors, and that will be announced soon. And then the idea is going live kind of before maybe end of this year or Q1 next year. That it's a funny question, because everyone's like, what can you do kind of like after invoices? But like invoices
Well,
is
that's
such
a
a
massive,
big...
yeah, that's a massive market. Like, get that rolling and then think about what's next. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, yeah. Thought you mentioned like something about this is not all we do, but
I mean, I think the idea, I guess, like the more philosophical idea of Platform D is like, like originate, issue, settle securities on chain. So the difference is instead of putting like existing securities rapid, like have like custody model, etc., directly have the provenance on chain. And I think our innovation here is like, if we have something that is like extremely verifiable, which is why we started with invoices, but it's like difficult asset, I guess, like to reconcile manually, but it's a very simple asset because it has like one payment. You know, whereas like, and it's also collateralized, and so if you want to in the future like kind of think about it as you have like the agentic economy. The agentic economy is a cash-based economy. Like you don't really, you know, an agent is going through some API, they're paying immediately. There's not going to be like, I'm getting the service and then you pay me like 30 days, 60 days later. So in that case, like what is the role of platform D? And really it's like, well, if all these transactions are so verifiable, then it's much easier for me to like analyze the risk or your revenue or your past behavior. And so if you want to expand your, I don't know, agent driven business, or you want to do kind of like a fundraise or like loans, etc., then it becomes a very easy way, because then we could verify all of the past transactions basically. So we want to go from like invoice, which is like relatively simple, to something that like maybe comprised of things that is like more over time, and that we could do like loan obligations, for example.
All right. So more data. Is there some advantage besides, of course, in the future, if I want to sell my or get money for my invoices sooner? There should be a lot of liquidity, so that's enticing. But besides that, what is the like? Why would I use Platform D instead of like a traditional, I don't know, someone who finances factoring financing like partner?
Simply, it's just cheaper and faster, because every layer that is currently existing, like they need to have, you know, part of that revenue, and you can't ultimately then sell the same product to investors with a different yield. So you've got to basically pay every day in the middle. So this really disintermediates the whole process.
That's very cool. Yeah, I love that with like blockchain, when we can get the intermediaries out of there. So
yeah, it's really end to end, and I think we're initially, you know, quite optimistic, but we're finding out that like this concept of like embedding lots of different roles into something, it's almost a very different way of like regulation altogether, because you typically have like gatekeepers or different layers to like check the previous layer. So for example, like if you have an SPV, you kind of have like a master servicer that like supervises it, and it gets reported to the authorities. And that works if you know, when you can't basically have like real-time data all the time. So you kind of like check every few months, or if you even as a transaction, banking transaction, you want to be like, okay, I've checked this person like this one time, but then over time, how do you continue to like make sure that everyone is compliant? And I think that's really the interesting part, because what we've done is we've actually put compliance onto the chain. So validators have to present their verifiable presentation every time they vote for a block. Transactions have verifiable presentations, and this is basically what's going to roll out for EU Identity Wallet. So it's in exactly the same format as all the credentials that is going to be in the Identity Wallet. So the idea is like we use what is the regulatory kind of like tailwind and be able to create something like far more efficient.
cool. Is it you were building on top of Cosmos? Is that right?
Yes, so D chain is a Cosmos based chain. We selected it a while ago, and then it's been selected, I guess, by many app chains now. And I think the advantage is that it's pretty like modular, and IBC connectivity is also another advantage that we saw.
Is it like a how does it function technically? Like you mentioned, it's an app chain. So is it very centralized?
Oh, right. So we we currently have like 16 different validators. We're not looking for like a huge amount of validators. But basically, I'd say the model is like decentralizable in a way that it's not a, whitelist of addresses who could join. It's you present a verifiable presentation, which is derived like self-sovereign identity, etc. But like there is like trusted issuers who are issuing these cryptographic presentations for such validators.
So DID.
Yeah, for example, yeah, exactly. So like
Yeah.
a DID is the issuer has certain like the document, they have their public key, etc. The chain basically has a list of like who are these issuers, and like as long as you have a presentation that is, not expired, has not been revoked, then you could then propose a block. So yes, at the beginning, the idea is we obviously KYC all the validators. They also kind of like agree that by the time we go to mainnet, they will all have information security like management type certifications. And like that's something that currently the foundation issues, but many of the qualified trust service providers across Europe, so the people who are doing digital signatures, like qualified digital signatures, advanced electronic signatures, they're also looking to like issue these sort of credentials as part of their stack. So I think this is why like we chose to kind of do it that way instead of just creating like a simple whitelist, because over time people could vote to be like, okay, well, like this other trusted issuer will be able to do this job of like basically doing AML KYC checks and then having a legally binding agreement that they still have like information security management certificates, etc.
All right.
Okay, I have a very
Go on.
left field question to ask. Since you like tokenize these invoices, have you thought about letting the tokenized assets live outside your like specific platform? Like, is there some way that they could benefit from DeFi, etc.?
100%, yeah.
Wrappers.
So, yeah, like it's absolutely. So, I kind of look at it this way: like you have traditional like financial instruments being like tokenized by many projects, or even like private credit being tokenized, because then you get a larger distribution, and arguably, like if you have more distribution, you have more liquidity, right? So certainly, traditionally, like invoice factoring or like ABSs, like it's or even like loans, etc. are you either have like bilateral agreements, or the bank basically phones up and be like, how much would you pay for this? And so the price discovery is something that is basically less transparent. What we're going to market with, what the first thing is, having investors, or we're talking to investors who are buying these digital securities backed by invoices, to be like buy and hold. So like you basically hold for the duration of this time. Would they want to trade it in the future? Potentially. But what these investors could do, and it could be us, it could be like other people, is, well, why don't I just buy a bunch of these? I buy a bunch of these, I put it in a fund, I sell a fund unit, they generate yield over time, and then it just becomes any other vaults,
Are
right?
you talking about yield generating tokens that are created that are backed by the tokenized invoices?
Yeah, so we have like the invoice that gets notarized, that turns into digital security, that could
Yeah.
then go into a vault, which represents like fund. You buy the fund unit, and then that will be yield generating, obviously, because the underlying digital securities is yield generating. So yeah, what ultimately we want to do on that direction, the first direction is we want to help the suppliers. The other direction is we want to produce investment grade on-chain stablecoin yield instrument. That's kind of like the end-to-end story. Obviously, there is already a lot of products that wraps other assets, financial assets. But our understanding is there are a lot, as more people move on to stablecoin, they're looking to park their stablecoin somewhere. And that's really where we want to export it into.
Is it going to be a pound based?
No, so we're starting with
Stablecoin.
so the PFC is euros. There will be pound based, and so we're not issuing stablecoin. It's more that you could it's more that the fund that maybe buys all the digital securities
Oh, all
will
right.
be able to then be something that yield generates for people who have stablecoin.
Great.
All right. So, how let's see how to put this. How did you get started with Platform MD? You are one of the co-founders, and how has the trip been so far? Have you had how has the fundraising been if you've done that, and how's that all coming together in like operational sense?
Yeah, so so it kind of all started with the parent company NimLab that is in Italy. And then we kind of spinned out Gaia did under NimLab as its own company. So Gaia did does like document composition, digital signatures, issue verifiable credentials, KYC ML. It's for digital transformation, so it basically helps our existing clients. Gaia did existing clients with a lot of the digital transformation process, and that's kind of like our route to how we understand we could turn these invoices into something that is privacy preserving, legally binding, that we could then turn it into something that originates a security. And then we incorporated Platform D end of 24 in London because we wanted to then apply for the sandbox. And then we got the entrant status in the sandbox early 25. And I think the kind of operation up to now has been interesting because a lot of the problems that we're running into, for example, who could hold digital securities, then requires like upgrade to crypto asset regime with FCA. Like, for example, like how do we settle digital securities? Well, then like we need to look at like, okay, well, what is the form of like electronic money that will be allowed in the sandbox. So I think a lot of it has been progress that we would have liked to have seen quicker, but it has accelerated in the past like few months. So that's kind of the day-to-day on that front.
Where comes the acceleration? Is it just
It's from the
because, or is
US.
there's sorry?
It's from the US.
Okay.
There was a agreement between HM Treasury and the SEC for like a transatlantic like working group for markets earlier this year, and the US is just going super fast. Everyone, all the protocols are like buying transfer agents, etc. There's the CSDs are tokenizing their workflow, or people directly buying transfer agents. So I think a lot of the progress is there, and therefore we're kind of feeling it over here as well. And there's lots of discussions around that. So our kind of roadmap is like we want to actually have done like a proper use case with like real counterparts, not fully like not in mainnet, but real counterparts like invoices, so then everyone knows how different this is compared to putting existing securities on chain. And then that's kind of like where I think will be more visible.
That's cool. By the way, just came to my mind, how's the monetization on your end? Do you take some small fee whenever they make a security, or when there's a transfer, or like how does that work?
Yeah, so there's two parts to that. So D-Chain basically burns token on the amount, percentage of the amount like that gets notarized on there. So that's basically aligning incentive with the community. And then Platform D would take fees on basically from the supplier and from the investors on creating a digital security. I guess like the unique part of us compared to like maybe some other sandbox entrants is we don't need to make money on like recording a security, for example. Like we because we have the product. Like if someone who like doesn't have the product, they have the infrastructure, so like they want lots of issuers to go onto their platform, right? So it's like tokenization as like a service. And so there needs to be some sort of percentage of fees for their business model. But because for us, like the actual issuance of security and all of that is part of getting an invoice into an investor's hand. So we basically we don't need to like, I guess like separately have fees on that. And so the fee structure just it's very simple. It makes sense for the suppliers. Like this is how much you're discounting. This is the fee for us as an investor. Like this is your yield, and then this is a fee for us.
How's the onboarding looking? So you are like are you looking at like factoring companies to come on board, and like suppliers, and like how's that all looking, and what's the feedback from their end?
Yeah, so we actually started talking to like large obligors, so people who are buying a lot of invoices. That's really the kind of like go to, and a couple of things that we've learned there. Obligors really, especially large obligors, really care about the supply chain because if you lose a supplier, in there, it's typically they invest a lot on the suppliers as well. And then so they would, for example, if the supplier needs to factor their invoices, they would go and like write guarantee letters and be like, yes, we are going to pay this invoice in the future to help the suppliers. So it actually aligns a lot with the obligors incentive to make sure that the suppliers are interested. And then secondly, almost the second question is like, well, the obligors are like, well, what about our invoices? Like, can you do that as well? Which we're like, well, let's just do the first step because you are a very large obligor. And the reason why we want to go for the large obligors is because then basically we want the security, the digital security risks to be based on the obligor, not the supplier. So for example, like when we want to borrow money against our invoice, the bank that we go to borrow money from will look at like, okay, what was your revenue, like, what is your credit line, etc. But really the risk of that invoice is like, is the obligor going to pay, right? So we want to go for large obligors, so they already some of them already have like credit ratings, first of all. So when they borrow money, there's like a certain rate that they borrow money from. So they're kind of lending that out a little bit.
Is it usually guaranteed by the company who sells the invoice? Someone else, is it guaranteed that they will pay the amount if whoever pays the invoice doesn't pay, or is it the buyer's problem after that?
So if I go to the bank, it's a recourse. So for example, if I sell some service to company A, and then I go and I use this invoice and go to the bank, but like, can you lend me some money based on this? It's recourse sell. So if company A doesn't pay me, then like I'm in trouble. Whereas when you do factoring, it's non-recourse. So
it's the bank's problem.
Some factoring services literally buys it. Yeah, exactly. So there's a problem. Like Platform D is a non-recourse solution as well. And that is why it's very important for us to be like, well, let's look at like who the obligor is, because Platform D, it doesn't actually hold the invoice. Like the investors ultimately like, has that. So in order to provide stable, not volatile yield for investors, we need to filter who are the obligors. Like who are these company A's, and are they likely to pay? Then if when they, over time, what we believe is like there's like a data flywheel, because then we have a platform where we have like analyzed like, okay, well, these are the companies that have been paying on time or don't, etc. And then that allows us to create digital securities that's more attractive.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, and
you mentioned about sorry.
Go ahead, Jani.
Sorry. You mentioned about credit ratings. Is somebody bringing them on chain? Is there a drive to bring them on chain? Is somebody doing this? Are you doing this?
No, I mean 100%. I think just in the news, like credit rating agencies are rating like processes of, for example, like the Sky like protocol, etc. We are working with a rating agency. It's a little bit different because then all the data is real time. So I'm sure like everyone is looking at, is there a desire to do kind of like real time rating? So there's two parts. Like the typical part of like, okay, rating an asset-backed security is like a static thing, right? So like or these are all the assets, and then let's go and securitize them. So we are kind of like a dynamic and real time system, and so yes, like that is something that we're striving for. That's why we want to create digital securities investment grade, because that is desired in the market, and we don't want to do like private credit, which is a segment of the market, massive. It's just a different product that we want to make.
Okay, so did I get this right? You want someone to create the like credit, customer credit infra, so that it will all work in public rather than in the private side of things.
Yeah, so we are working with a like major global rating agency to rate our digital securities.
Yeah. And you want to build it like the American system, that if you pay on time, you'll get positive credit, and if you don't pay on time, you'll get negative credit, and then you have some score.
Interesting. Right. So we do, I guess we can go through this. So we do upstream filtering. So for example, we don't accept all invoices, only from obligors that we have onboarded.
Sure.
Why? Because then we can make sure that the obligors are of certain size, credit standing, etc. So then, as a supplier, we don't care about who the supplier's revenue or anything about the supplier, because basically we're just buying that invoice, and then the supplier has the money, and that's it. So that's part one. And then once the invoice is in the platform, the investor is not specifically choosing like one invoice. The investor is looking at, okay, these are all the obligors. These are all obligors with certain credit rating themselves. And then we actually have a model and a reserve trust that basically says like, okay, we are able to like credit enhance the ultimate digital securities, because if the obligors doesn't pay, like we have this reserve that would buy it. But obviously then it's very important that we make sure that we only allow invoices in that are that are from obligors who have had a good payment history, etc. And the credit rating part, or I guess like analysis part, comes in where it's like, well, how diversified is your platform? How many obligors there are? Like how much is in your reserve? Like what has happened, etc. So I think that's like a separate part. But what we want to do is, when we have the securities, we could be like, okay, this is a investment grade security based on the diversification of the platform, the credit behavior of the obligors, but also like our assurance reserve trust.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what about you? Do you have time to code? You are the CTO, or does your time?
No, I'm just yeah, it's really just been coding and understanding the products. I think the key right now for us is like, let's get everything ready, like go to mainnet, do this POC, and then basically go live. So that's really the focus. We've been building this for a long time.
When's the
everyone's kind of
launch?
converging to this. We want to go to mainnet in the next quarter, and then platform D will
Q3?
deploy on the mainnet next end of year / early next year.
Cool. We'll be looking forward to seeing how that goes. And
Thank you. I think the initial mainnet is we don't want to create a mainnet that doesn't really have anything on it. So the first mainnet will be pretty silent until platform D gets all the authorization to like deploy and do real transactions.
yeah. I've used to say that whenever someone gives an estimate on the mainnet or whatever, double it, and then you're getting closer to the truth. So
yeah, I think yeah, for sure. It's been interesting because the technology has kind of evolved so quickly, and we're looking at like, well, how do we? There is just no way of like future proofing what's going to come out.
So you reference AI specifically?
Yeah. So well, we run like AI models for like payment behavior, etc. But in general, with IBC or the upgrade of the Cosmos SDK, or different types of module that they're launching, I think it's very interesting, and we're very much looking forward to like getting the support from from that team as well.
Oh yeah, by the way, why the app chain?
Yeah.
Why Cosmos?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to hear what do you think about Canton and the other rivalries of like such platforms?
Yeah, this might be interesting for Northcrypto specific listeners as well. No
What is
investment
the
advice.
Well, I think credentialized chains is a thing. Couple of things. Platform D is regulated under the Bank of England. So we could choose. There's like there's different types of chain, but in order to go live, it's like, well, like, who are your counterparties, etc. So that's a very core part of why we decided that like Cosmos was a good thing, because then we could then add to the consensus layer and say, okay, we know at the point that like this counterparty even proposed this block, they have this credential, and it's not been revoked, and we can revoke them if that is the case. Well, Platform D itself cannot, but the oversight committee of the chain can. And so then we have like, how do we make sure that the chain is aligned? Well, then we have the tokenomics that aligns the community with the business of Platform D. And I think that's kind of the flexibility that you get with different requirements. For example, you could get like emergency upgrades because of certain regulatory changes. I don't particularly know. I know that there's been some drama regarding the Cancer Network. I think even last year we were actually at the GS, like Digital Asset Conference in London, and they had just raised a lot of money, and they're doing a lot of partnerships with a lot of financial
Which network?
So that's great. Sorry?
Which network? Sorry.
Oh, digital assets. So that's great. I think there's certainly a lot of value to that, especially the now popular like collateral mobility, collateral movement between networks, netting, etc. And so yeah, I think it's not. I wouldn't say it's a competition. It's like we want to have something that supports us making this like initial digital security brick, and then sure, like if we could figure out how to tokenize it, how to put it into vaults, how to make it into like instrument that asset manager could use in their fund, which then the fund would be natively on chain and then they could sell it in other places. That's certainly it's not a competition. What we want to do is we want to create this really clean raw instrument, and then people will be very creative as to what to do with it.
That sounds good. Money Legos.
Yes, exactly. If we could just keep producing these like Legos, and then I'm sure it would go to different places. And I think like this is why we thought IBC would be quite a good idea. But let's just get the first step going, and then I'm sure everything else would come through.
Yeah, so basically by having your app chain, you get a lot of freedom in providing updates for like these emergency things. Plus you can like switch between all the other Cosmos networks. Am I getting that right? Like the assets themselves are transferable easily between the chains.
Yeah, messages like I don't think that we'll ever have, because the digital security depository is actually like Platform D's reading from the chains. Like that needs to be a single source of truth. That we're not looking at like locking on one chain and then like minting on another where we have no visibility, or even like we don't know who the counterparty is, because platform D will be the DSD kind of like licensed entity. But then, well, IBC is very powerful because you could have multiple different types of messages, etc. And IBC connects also. There was thing with Solana, like Ethereum, and I think that was initially kind of, I thought, in terms of interacting between different ecosystems, really a really high standard, because everyone else is literally like verifying a light client right on their side, and so it is fast. Yeah, I'm quite excited about like what could come out potentially with the next upgrade there too.
Yeah, that's cool. I haven't personally heard about Cosmos too much lately, but it's good to know
Yeah,
that
No, it's an interesting one. I think we've been building on it, but we've seen other projects kind of choosing either just part of the stack or building on the stack as well. So
that's cool. How do you see Canton network? Are you
eager to talk about competitors?
Well, as I mentioned, they're connected to many financial institutions. They have different zones and settlement, etc. We just want to make the brick, and if the brick at some point becomes some sort of like Lego construct on not just Canton but other networks, that would be great.
Yeah, that's good. How do you like London, by the way? You've been there for a while now.
It's grey today. Yeah, it's pretty grey.
Compared to Milan?
Actually, I don't know. Milan sometimes gets like quite humid and cold. I think London is it's beautiful in a different way. Yeah.
By the way, how
I didn't realize that like it's actually kind of on the latitude it's very similar to many like much colder places, but obviously because of the Gulf Stream, it's warmer here. So we still get that like extremely long daylights that you get, but not as much, I guess.
I think the sun rose here in like 4:30 this morning.
How many hours of nighttime do you get?
Very little.
Yeah, I don't know, like 7.
You have like blackout curtains and stuff.
Yeah, you have to. Pretty much.
Yeah. And then I guess during the winter it's the other way around.
Yeah. So how do you feel about?
So what are your audiences like? I guess like, or like, what is the main kind of interest?
I think we would need to make the first questionnaire for our audience to actually know that.
Right.
I've no clue.
Yeah.
Is it so? It's mainly well, it's most of the podcasts in Finnish, and so I guess that's geographically probably that. But are you affiliated with networks, or how does that work?
Well, we are affiliated with Northcrypto, which is a Finnish crypto exchange, and it's part of Greenmerk, which is a bigger like Nordic concern.
Swedish.
Yeah, Swedish. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
publicly traded company.
Yeah.
Right.
Northcrypto, like main market is Finland, so hence we do content mostly in Finnish, but they can accept like customers all around the Europe, but we've thought that Finnish is still the best language for our podcast.
That's a niche we can cling on to. Like,
yeah.
Do you see like an uptake in people being interested in this I guess like digital security, tokenized securities, but
Among the
also crypto.
professionals, certainly, but like with normal people outside the industry, there is not
Yeah.
isn't that much interest, I would say.
It's not the
Right.
sexiest thing to talk about.
Is it not still?
Nah.
Yeah, I think we are in our own bubble.
But there's
neither is blockchain, by the way.
right. So how much of like I guess crypto company are in like Slush, for example? Is that still an event that goes on?
Yeah, Slush is a big event, but I don't think there has
Yeah.
been a crypto focus in several years. Like no
Yeah,
official crypto
depends.
stuff. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So okay, I see. So where do you guys see what is exciting for you guys in like this coming year regarding in general in crypto, or what you're looking forward to?
Well,
Agentic commerce.
Ah, I see.
yeah, well, I personally love to see the tokenization development going full steam. Really curious to see how everything will be in like 2 or 3 years time. When everything is tokenized, we'll see.
Yeah.
So like, although I guess like when you say professional, is it just like financial services professionals, or you mean like kind of
Crypto.
specifically like
Yeah,
crypto
crypto.
focus? Right.
Like
Okay.
we were in Davos, Switzerland in January, and so like where do you talk to industry people there? So
Yeah.
the main I think the main subject of panels and every official content is like stablecoins or tokenization.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But of course, that depended on the sponsors as well.
Sure, yeah, but I think
Like
it's the main part.
Circle, Coinbase, etc. Had a big
Right.
attendance.
Yeah.
But the Finnish authorities has always been quite advanced, no?
Sorry, what do you mean?
Excuse
In
me?
Finland?
The Finnish authorities, like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's always been quite advanced and quite positive.
I wouldn't quite say that. Not particularly,
Okay.
but I mean, I
In
think
terms
that
of like digitalization, but not like blockchains.
yeah,
Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
it
Well, I
seems
hope
that.
this goes into some. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. I was just gonna say that I feel like most projects go to some other country if they are doing something actually very serious, or they're gonna launch something, because it's very hard to get everything, all the ducks in a row regulatory wise here.
Yeah, doing something new is the keyword here. Like you can always like do something that's been done, but doing something radical in Finland is not that easy.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I hope it will change in a few years, but I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm quite sad because there's a lot of like lost opportunities here, and there. Well, I mean, like Aave was like Stani Kulechov is from Finland, and they founded Aave in Switzerland. So maybe if it was a more friendly, easier environment here, maybe they would have founded it here, and we'd have like this huge DeFi player in Finland. So, but now not so. We'll see how everything goes in the future, but
Right. Yeah.
Should we go to the quick fire questions?
sure,
What are the?
you can go
Oh, I
ahead and
see.
shoot.
Are you gonna cut? Like, do you wanna actually ask a question?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was like, okay, like I'm
Yes.
looking at it now.
Yeah, we're
I
not.
was like, are you gonna edit it? Edit. Okay.
Yes.
We're not gonna
We don't
bring
edit.
the documents
Yeah.
to the video.
Yeah. So, do you want to pick Jani?
Dang. I want to go to the last question.
Sure.
Oh, dude, I was gonna say, don't ask it.
All right. All right. So you don't have any book or article recommendations?
So actually, what was really interesting, I did, and it's interesting. I would say it's interesting generally for everyone. So I was in the London FinTech Week, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, and so SBI, the Japanese financial institutions, massive. Their chair, CEO, wrote the book of about tokenization. I don't know where I've put it. Wait, hold on. Cut this. Let me just find it.
You can go ahead and find it. We always try not to cut if we don't have to.
Yeah.
It's
Consider it live.
yes.
Book.
Maybe I should play the piano.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's all right. Anyway, he wrote this book. It's very up to date. I don't. It's very,
Something
very
to
up to date.
something to fall asleep reading to. Nighttime reading.
And he makes this argument about kind of like he kind of like defines like what is the metaverse economy, and in a way that, you know, obviously it's the largest like financial institution in Japan. They made loads of investment in different blockchain. They have a JV with Ripple, for example, like, but and then he makes a case about like media being a part of kind of this metaverse, and how yes.
Isn't the metaverse just the failed projects of Meta? I mean, some might find it that's all it is, but it's quite a broader term, I think.
No, so the book, well, like he basically defines it in whatever way he would like. Actually, you know what? I could probably find it on. Hold on one second.
Japanese
Sorry.
book, metaverse, tokenization, Google.
It got translated. Okay, there we go. Towards a tokenized economy, convergence of finance, technology, and media in the digital economy.
Cool. We'll put it in the bio.
And the guy who wrote it is the representative director, chairman, president, CEO of SBI Holdings. And I thought it was it's a very, I would say the way that it's written, it's pretty easy to understand. And that it kind of links in like quite a few different things, like, oh, like why is X part of this? Why is like X money? And then how the media should be part of this like metaverse economy where everything is tokenized, settlement is on chain, but also like the media is also part of this. So that's I would say it's quite interesting and quite a recent read.
Cool. Where do you see Cosmos in 5 years? Are you bullish on the ecosystem?
Yeah, I think the team that we've like spoken to have plans, and I think seeing the like different chains or different projects adopting that technology it has been like validating, but also at the same time it is advancing as one of the stacks that could provide basically the app chain thesis implementation. And I think, at least for us, like it is very useful to be able to have agreement to like demonstrate sustainability with like the underlying team. for our technology when we go to the regulators as well. So it's not like, oh, we've just like picked this out of the shelf, like we don't know when it's going to be discontinued, etc. It's like there is actually something that we could prove or show that like we're working together, and this is, you know, the service level agreement.
Yeah. Cool. Any last thoughts you want to share, and where can we follow Platform D and you?
Yeah, just the website, and then Platform DIO is the X account, and you could find everything there.
Yeah, we'll put everything in bio.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Belsy. This was a pleasure. We hope to see you soon in Finland as well,
Or
yes,
somewhere
that
else.
would be fantastic.
or somewhere else.
Are you guys doing any other like conferences or?
I've done some conferences in the near past, ETHCC, and then I'm thinking about going to Berlin Blockchain Week, but I'm not
Oh, okay.
quite like locked in on that yet.
Yeah. We're
So would you be like doing podcasts like there, or for other reasons?
For other reasons. No,
Right.
I'm not traveling for a podcast.
yeah. And Nordic blockchain. What's the event's actual name?
Sweden, yeah.
Yeah, that's in like 2 weeks, so we might go there, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Cool. That you take the ferry over, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Very convenient.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Ruottilaiva.
Yeah.
How long is it?
It's like 12 hours ish, like 10 hours, maybe 11.
Yeah, if you go one way.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So you can leave at like 8 p.m. and arrive there at like 6 p.m. or something like that.
Oh, I genuinely
AM,
thought it
sorry.
was like a 3 hours trip. Like,
No, it's a bit longer.
There's quite a lot of like islands in between, so it cannot go like super fast.
right.
Yeah, it's like
okay.
Yeah, it's a 24-hour cruise if you go back and forth.
Yeah, it goes like zigzag, 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 zigzag. Then there's like a little patch of clear water, and then again zigzag, zigzag, zigzag.
Is it quite pretty?
It is, yeah.
Turku Archipelago.
Yeah, in Stockholm, obviously.
Sorry, I meant the journey.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But the
That's
usual
awesome.
thing is to like go back and forth. Then that's when it takes like 24 hours, and that's for
Right.
tax-free reasons.
Yes, and I understand that you can get different tobacco pouches or something
Yeah, exactly.
from my very very unique knowledge from working with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, awesome.
All right. But
Yeah.
thank you, Belsy.
Cool.
This was a good conversation, and we hope to see you soon somewhere.
Yes, let me know if you are going. No, I'll let you guys know if we're going to Berlin. Might be.
All right. Cool.
Nice. Amazing.
Cheers.
Yeah. Thank you,
Cheers.
everybody.
Belsy, don't leave the app.